Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Coming up, you've got a voice, so let's tell a story.
A story? Once upon a time. Plus, Google adds Uber to its maps, Apple ramps up refunds, and it's the joy of cooking.
All that and a really upsetting game if you think that you're dexterous, you're not. On iPad today.
iPad Today is brought to you by Hover.com. Hover's the best way to buy and manage domain names. It's simple, honest, and easy to use. For 10% off your first purchase, go to Hover.com and enter the promo code IPT5. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. And by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you'll finally have all your financial life in one place and get a clear view of everything you own. Best of all, it's free. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/iPad today.
Ample.
Ample apps up umple. Ample loople, umple loompa, boopa loompa. It's the black and white edition of iPad today.
That we're like newspapers.
Yeah. Are you going to the black and white ball tonight? Is that why?
No.
Oh.
Is that a thing?
Well, you don't know about the black and white ball?
I just didn't know it was tonight.
I don't know when it is.
It's a San Francisco Society event.
It is.
Is that what you would call it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's to benefit the symphony or something. They take over City Hall and the beautiful square there, and they shoo the homeless people out. Or if they won't leave, they give them tuxedos.
It's not usually very beautiful at all. It's kind of a toilet.
They have bands, and I went once, and it's kind of a zoo.
Yeah.
You know, I got all dressed up.
And do you see Danielle Steele? She's, you know, a famous person who lives in San Francisco. If you like that sort of thing.
Not so much. You see a lot of people who apparently are very hungry because they're elbowing their way to the food.
Oh, so it's supposed to be the, you know, the upper echelon of society, but it's more people
like a cruise ship.
who want to get seconds.
Yeah. Exactly. Or firsts.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it.
Well, okay. Well, then I'm not going. I've never gone.
It's also very expensive. It's hundreds of dollars for a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To benefit the symphony.
Well,
you know. Symphony, we love you, but.
So we're having our own little black and white ball right here at the Twit Brick House.
Why not? Why not? It's Monday. The sun is shining. The weather is sweet.
It's hot.
It's hot outside.
And it's going to be hotter tomorrow. It's going to be almost 100.
It's basically summer.
Right.
Summer just happened.
For the rest of the world that doesn't use Fahrenheit scale, that's 20.39.
That's not true, is it?
I don't know what it is.
I don't either. It's very difficult for me to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius,
it'll be almost
even at
40.
my advanced age.
It'll be almost 40.
Okay. It seems like a lot.
I wish I were almost 40.
I am almost 40.
What is our... No, you're not. You're far off. What is our topic of the day, young lady?
I thought that we would call this story time. And you might say, ugh, I'm sick of your stories. But this is actually for a good reason, because an app came out at the end of last week called Adobe Voice.
Yeah, I want you to tell me what this is, because you know we showed you Lightroom. I'm an Adobe fan. I use the Creative Cloud, but and I used to use for years Adobe Audition as the best audio editor.
Right.
So at first I thought, oh great, Adobe. No, what is this?
Well, it's a tool, much like the other tools that you mentioned, but it really is much more of a storytelling app. Sorry, up there I'm so visible in my iPad screen. And
it's also sideways.
A couple weird things about it.
That.
It's only portrait mode, and the idea is that you use a combination of icons, photos, and actual audio to tell your story. I actually made one earlier just so I could quickly have something to show everybody. So as long as my audio is up, I will the story that I made. Oh, where is it? Oh, there we go.
Almost 4 years ago, Leo and I launched iPad Today. And this is what it looks like now. Here's to another 4 years, buddy.
So I made that in like 2 seconds, right?
Yeah, well,
So and it shows. But the idea is that, okay, so let's go ahead.
So it's a slideshow, and you can record the audio on your iPad, basically. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it also gives, there's like a little bit of a reverb effect for your audio, so it sounds a little bit better.
That wasn't just the crappy microphone. That was intentional.
Well, it actually sounded a little bit better than it would normally.
Really?
If I was like, if I was just like, let's just make something
reverb,
nice.
Really? Can you turn that off?
You might be able to. Here's what's kind of interesting when you get started, though. And the idea of this, this app is brand new, but I did a little digging, and it sounds like it is something that Adobe thinks would be really great for classroom presentations. Right. This is what I did over the summer type of a thing.
Maybe a little bit like their response to PowerPoint.
A little bit.
Keynote.
A little bit, because it's kind of fun to do. But what they want you to pick at the very beginning, which can be kind of helpful, is, hey, well, what is the story about? Am I explaining? Is this like a, tutorial? Is this a, you're teaching somebody something? Is it just random? Is it an idea? So, if I say, oh, I don't know, something that happened.
I like that they give you the structure, because especially for kids, this tells you beginning, middle, end, stuff like that.
Exactly. And it gives you little prompts like describe who or what your story will follow.
Perfect.
This is a story about a shark. Then I can say, all right, let's see what that sounds like. This is a story about a shark.
Actually, that sounds good.
It's kind of good. Now at this point, I can be like,
put little music in there.
It did, and it basically just defaults to this this one that's over on the left-hand side. But there are all sorts of little. Ooh, Woodland Jam. That's kind of a fun shark tune.
This isn't as great as something you might make with iPhoto or Keynote, but it's easy and fast.
Right.
So you could, right before the show.
This is a story about a shark. And then I say, okay.
How do you find a picture of a shark? Can you?
Well.
You might have one, or you can get it online.
Exactly. Find photos.
Oh.
Shark.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And we've seen this before. Remember?
Look at this fun little guy.
Look at that. That's a shark.
His name is Arthur.
I like it.
Yeah. And and then you're sort of like
Arthur. Hi, Arthur. I love this.
I know. It's kind of stupid, right? But so like in 2 seconds I made.
Perfect.
This is a story about a shark. His name is Arthur.
That's pretty good.
I
can see the potential here.
Right.
It's free.
And there are a variety of themes. Yeah, it's completely free. And even if you make something and you say, oh, maybe I could make it look a little bit different, I can see what my slides will look like with a different theme. Of course,
could see using this.
When you're ready to share, this is kind of
Well,
nice.
and this is where they make money, because they want you, of course, to buy storage on the Creative Cloud. And that's $1.99 a month. So the idea is, oh, well, you'll want somewhere to store all these wonderful stories. How about this? And then they make a couple of bucks a month. So I think that, that's the model. But you can upload it right away. You don't have to, right? I can put it on Google Plus. And
yeah. It's interesting. I still feel like I'm a little like Adobe.
Well, let's look at, okay, so they give you, as an example, some samples. So let's look at a sample of one of the slideshows. This is what kids think they're eating.
Okay.
15% of elementary schoolers think that bread and pasta are made of meat. Ask any kindergartner and they'll say that chicken is the main ingredient in their fish sticks. Despite a range of healthy eating campaigns, many children still do not understand where their food comes from, while playgrounds are seen as essential to child development. Why not bring food campaigns to the places where children play?
I like this idea.
Let's create parks that are agriculture-oriented. Vegetable petting zoos where children can learn and
all of this is with stock art, clip art, maybe
children
some photos that she took.
With a fuller understanding of how food reaches
for a
them.
teacher, a presenter, this is great.
It's pretty, yeah.
I think that's pretty neat.
And you can see that.
There's a little plug for Adobe, told with voice.
And you can see that once as long as you've got a story, that it's very easy to put something together and narrate it too. And the voice part of it is kind of fun, because I think with a lot of story apps, there's not necessarily a lot of emphasis on that.
This is great. People can use it to tell, as this woman has, tell their stories, which is kind of neat.
Causes digestive issues.
I like this. All right, so this is called Voice.
It is.
It is
not to be
free.
confused with Google Voice. It's Adobe Voice.
Adobe Voice.
Completely
it's funny
free.
because I searched for this. When I searched for this in the App Store, in fact, I'll show you what happened. And I don't know if this is something new. I'd never seen this before. I got Siri as the first result, which is not, in fact, an app in the App Store.
When you search for voice?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
It's almost like Apple says, oh, well, you know, we have voice. It's called Siri.
Well, maybe Apple is also aware that people sometimes are confused and
About
go to
where
the
they're
App Store
searching.
and say voice.
Right.
Like, I have to turn it on.
I'd never seen that before. I thought, well,
I've never
that's
seen that.
It's not a bad thing. It's like
No.
a little help.
It's all right. It's all right.
So that's Adobe Voice, free.
Totally free.
You know, Apple does have, if we're going to talk storytelling, an app that they charge $5 for, although is iPhoto free now as part of the new
Yes.
thing, so you don't have to pay for it anymore.
iLife is now free.
I love,
Yeah.
if you know, it doesn't normally come with it, you have to download it, but highly recommend that you download iPhoto. And one of the features of iPhoto is you can create a journal. So it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm going to figure out how to do it again. I even have a journal in here somewhere, I think. Albums, I guess, maybe that's what they call them, or projects. Yeah, here we go. So you can create a web journal, a slideshow, or a photo book. So I just wanted to remind people that you already have something that you can do this with. So let's create a new web journal. It has some nice features that I particularly like. So, for instance, if you're a traveler, you can put in clip art of things like currency. Let's add, you can add a quote, a flag. I'm going to go somewhere. I can change what flag, what country it is. You could notice that automatically picked out the United States because of where we are. So if you did this as you were traveling around, you could pick a flag automatically, or you could pick a flag if you're doing this after you get back. It has weather. It has a calendar thing. And then you would use this to put in, notice the weather, you'd use this to put in additional pictures and rearrange it because it has a very flexible system of doing that. These can be resized. So I think this is maybe not all of them can be resized. Some of them can be resized. Your pictures certainly can. I guess I'll add a picture and we'll see how that works in here. Let's see. You know, I always like to add pictures of my travels around the world. Here I am with a giraffe in Norway, as it turns out. So, no, that's not a Norwegian giraffe.
I was going to say, I didn't realize
thought,
the tundra of Norway was so
very
sub-Saharan.
popular. And if I put another picture in. So this, you have this, and I just think this is fun. You can say what food you had. So I had dumplings in Norway.
Well, what's kind of fun is
giraffe.
I mean, if you make it travel-based with iPhoto, there's a good chance that you do have photos of food that you took because you were somewhere different, and you know, it all works out together.
So that is one of 3 formats that allow you to create your own journals or presentations, and that's in iPhoto. You already have that. Part of the iLife pack. I didn't really do a very good one. I think it looks like it lost the ones I've done before because I had some from my previous travels. See if
And
I
you
can
don't
find
think you've
those.
saved them any?
Maybe I didn't save them. I think that's probably what happened.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about stories, there is an app. It's called Stellar that it's possible you've not heard of, and it's from a company called Mambo Labs, and I've talked about it on i5 back in the day, not that long ago. What's neat about Stellar is it's not really unlike Adobe Voice. It's not text-based though, but it's more telling stories with movies and images. So if I go to a story that I had already put together, I've got one kind of not that interesting story. Where's my story here? Come on. Stories likes collections. Where's my story? What? Excuse you.
You lost your story too?
No, seriously.
It's epidemic.
That actually makes me mad. Hold on a second. I couldn't have overridden it, right?
Is it in their drafts section?
No, I just looked at Sarah.
Is that it? There
Yeah,
it is.
this is it. That's weird.
Story time.
Story time
by
by
Sarah Lan.
By Sarah Lan.
Sarah Lan.
Thanu.
Thanu tells the story of her trip around the world.
So this is, you know, this is something that I put together. It was, you know, not my best work, but just for demonstration. Storytime by Sarah Lane. You can see that there's one of 4 slides. So that I go, and then I actually added a video.
Oh, that's neat.
And I say, last night I found these people. Last night I found these people.
This I like.
Doing some sort of bike hockey game. It was weirdly slow and a bit boring to watch.
Not every story
I
has
was
to be
taking the video
fascinating.
through a chain link fence, so it looks a little odd. But yeah, it was. I didn't know what to make of it.
I think they were
it was very odd.
inventing the sport.
But it was like
and
they
it
weren't.
hasn't been
They
perfected.
weren't getting around very quickly. I feel like, you know, the murder ball guys are much better on a court than these guys were. Anyway, it went on for a while, and then you go, okay, got it. And then this is just it's not
Then
a
I
video.
went bowling. Yeah, dog.
Then I went bowling. Yeah, dog. At Mission Bowling Club. And that's the end of that. I can republish it. I can share it.
It's a short story.
Related collections. There's, you know, I said that I had stories, but it's just the one. But what's kind of neat about Stellar is
Now, it's an iPhone app, though. Not
it is
yeah.
it is an iPhone app. I think it's, I don't know, it's pretty nice though. Obviously it's only in
Right.
portrait mode, which is a little bit annoying. But Lake Titicaca, which is one of the best names for a lake, but also a cool lake that's right on the edge of Peru and Bolivia. If you wanted to see a little bit about this is actually something that somebody put together using Stellar.
Right.
That's quite good.
I love it.
You know, you've got these beautiful
Look at that.
photos, you've got this information, history, a variety of facts. This one is pretty photo based. Others are a little bit more talking about stuff.
I think a lot of times you come back from a trip, you'd like a way to present your trip that is palatable and easy. And so we've actually already shown you 3 ways you can do it. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. I liked
What's that called again?
I liked it too. This is called Stellar.
Stellar.
Yes.
And
then of course
free.
if you're starting a new story, you've got text, video, or photo. You don't have audio input, which is why I think Adobe Voice is just a little bit easier maybe, because you're not writing so much out necessarily. But yeah, you kind of go nuts, and this is completely free as well.
You know what this show needs?
What?
Juicy Bits. And I've got it.
Okay.
This is a program that was a very popular program from Juicy Bits in its first incarnation. They've released Halftone 2. Sometimes your stories should be told as a comic book. And this makes it super easy, I mean, really fun too, to create a comic book out of your adventures. You can add a page, we'll add a page, choose a variety of different formats. You can also, so if I'm gonna, let's choose different styles, different, I guess, frames, they call it layout. You know, comic book style layouts. You can add comic book style stuff, slap, skit, thwack, 10 cents, all sorts of fun stuff. Everything in here is completely scalable, by the way. This is a little odd. You get used to it, though. In fact, I've turned off the tips the first time you use it. It tells you what all of these little icons mean. But you'll quickly grok what it is that you can do and so forth. I could choose different paper backgrounds as well. And it's got a variety of additional settings in here. But what you get, and in fact, let me go back to my original comic book here. What you get is the ability to take your pictures, you embed them. That's the second page. Let's go to the first page. And if I edit these pictures, I'll show you. You can change the color background. You can change the border. But you can also change how the picture is rendered. Let me get the picker up here. This is the chooser. I can choose a different picture if I want. I can, now Juicy Bits does Aviary, which you probably heard of. That was the online photo editing app that Google added to Google+. So you can actually go back into Aviary and, you know, do some editing of the pictures. You can also do the comic book style half-toning, which is kind of fun. There really is incredibly flexible in the things that you can do with this. I mean, it's just, whoops, let's cancel that. Let's look at, actually, let's go back and look at the Juicy Bits editor. I think that's a useful thing. So you can see different kind of comic book styles that you might get with this. You could change the tints, the colors, play with that. And when it prints, it's not doing it yet, but when it prints, it's going to render it out in the style that you pick. Let's pick another thing we can play with. Here we go. I already did all that. All right. So there you go. So that's a page, and that looks like a good comic book, don't you think?
I love it.
Andy Anako says, hello, a giraffe goes, and then I fall asleep, and you say bonk.
Bonk.
So it's a story of our life. You can print it out. You can share it.
Fun for kids.
I think
you could say, hey, give me your best comic.
Might want to make a graphic. Don't think of it as a comic. a graphic novel
Okay.
of their adventures.
All right.
Don't you think?
Well, okay. Is it what we say graphic novel because that's more adult? Is that the thinking?
Yeah. Here's Sarah Lane
hate
as
that
a
photo.
Russian officer.
So weird.
Well, you like this one better?
Very much.
I knew you would. So we can position it. We can scrooch it. There we go. That's a perfect comic book photo.
I love it.
Let's add another one here. How about, I think for some reason we don't really know, Padre was going to sea. So he's wearing his life jacket. And then, of course, you with Poopy, your favorite doll as a child.
Smiling pile of poo.
And Ozzy belongs in a comic book, of course. Let's put him back in there and reposition him. And you can make him bigger, smaller.
Ozzy!
There you go. So you see how easy it is to play with.
The gang's all here.
Paper can be changed. The layout can be changed. When you render it out, it does do a half-toning, and you can control that. It's kind of fun. I think this is a really fun little thing to play with. Uh-oh. We'll say, uh-oh.
So this is called
Halftone 2, which is the successor to a very popular, in fact, I think it was an app choice, editor's choice from Apple, a comic book program called Halftone. And I think they've done some nice things with that. And I particularly like the ability to use Aviary or the built-in editor to modify these. I think that makes it a lot of fun. So there you go. There you go.
So you've got Adobe Voice. Leo reminded you of some storytelling parts of iPhoto.
Yeah.
We've got Stellar and even Halftone 2.
Lots of different ways to use your iPad. You know, it's funny because when the iPad first came out, I said, oh, this is a content consumption device. But we've just shown you 4 ways you can take photos that you have or stuff from the internet and create new stuff that's really pretty cool.
I hosted a baby shower a couple of weeks ago, and one of my friends has, kind of a fancy camera, and she was taking lots of photos. And, I had forgotten all about it. And afterwards, she was like, what do I do with all these photos? I want to share them with everybody, but it's like, I don't want to spam Facebook with too many photos of everyone. And I just want to kind of put together something nice for everybody to look at.
Yeah.
And kind of go, oh, that's kind of nice. Here's Devin opening that one present. And these are exactly the right tools for stuff like that, where it's like you have all of this content and it's meaningful, but you almost want to put it into a little bit of a storytelling timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have quite a few options. Hope that you like them. And if we missed anything that's very storytelling that you think, you guys missed something really, really obvious, please do tell us. iPad Today at twit.tv is how you can get a hold of us. And just a reminder that we do record the show live on Mondays, right after Leo finishes triangulation. So it's around 12 noon or thereabouts. It's fun to have everybody joining us live. And if you ever miss a show or would like to watch it again, or a 4th time, or an 8th time, you just go to twit.tv/IPT, and that's where all of our magic lives forever.
That's where the magic
Last week,
happens.
remember, it was Cinco de Mayo, and we were very festive.
We even had a festive cat.
We had a festive kitty. Correct. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching live or on demand. You are all just the bee's knees.
You're in our club.
That's correct.
And if you had a club, you could use the .club domain name. Did you know that there's a .club domain name? Hover's got it.
Well, okay.
So let's say you're the Miami Rotary Club. You might have in the past got MiamiRotaryClub.com.
Yeah.
Now you can get MiamiRotary.club or
Oh.
iPadtoday.club. I think that's great. It's one of many domain names that are now available at hover.com. Hover is the greatest way to register domain names. And I think it's one of the fun things a lot of people do. They get an idea for a business or something they want to do, a joke, and immediately they go to hover.com, they type in the domain name, they get some choices, and they sign up. And it's affordable, it's easy. You don't get about 50 clicks as some of these domain registrars make you just like, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy this? Like exit through the gift shop. Not here. Hover.com knows what you want. They know you want, for instance, WHOIS privacy, so that nobody can get your home phone number or your address from your domain name registration. They give you that automatically as part of the price. Prices start at $10, by the way, a year for a secure domain name. You'll also get the best domain management Everybody who does this loves hover.com. Geeks, developers, designers, programmers. You're going to get the best tools, and by the way, the best support too, including no-hold support. When you call during business hours, you'll get a representative who's empowered to help you. But you don't have to be an expert to use it. The simple domain name registration system means anybody can do this. They also help you if you want to move your domains, as I did, off of the bad guys onto hover.com. I was so happy I did it. Clean, simple, in less than 5 minutes. You can find the domain you want to get it up and running. And the extensions, of course, .club is cool, but .com, .net, country codes too. You can get just about anything. Hover.com. Give it a try today. Use our offer code IPT5 because it's the 5th month of May, and you'll get 10% off your first purchase.
Hey!
We are fans. I have all my domains registered at hover.com. You should too. Hover.com. Use IPT as the offer.
Maybe I should start a club.
IPT5.
It could be SarahLane.club.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Kinda.
You know,
I
they've got.
like the idea
if you
of that.
visit the site, they've got all these new. I had never realized that the variety of they call these top-level domains.
Yeah.
TLDs is huge. It's not all just .com and .com anymore. You can have anything you want. I love it. We should do a club. Can you get club.club? I think it's probably gone. Breakfast.club. Somebody's already got that for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah. No Girls Allowed Club. That's the one I'm in.
That's kind of fun. Yeah, well, how'd that work out for you?
There were no girls, so I left.
Oh, I see. This is actually a club. No.
I went there was a bunch of guys. I said, wait a minute.
I don't want
this. They said, dude, it's the No Girls Allowed.club.
Fight.club.
Fight.club.
You guys are fun.
Indian.club.
Indian.club.
Lil Bub Club.
Lil Bub Club?
Lilbub.club.
Lilbub.club.
Snap it up quick.
Oh.
Cat Lover Club. See, she wants to go to hover.com right now.
I do.
Golf.club.
You know what I also want to do?
What? The He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Woman haters. I don't. In this day and age, I'm not sure you want to say things
I'm not
like
a woman
that.
hater. I am a woman lover. But no girls allowed.
We tend to muck things up anyway.
No, we're not gonna register Seal Club. That would be wrong.
Yeah. Stop that. Stop that.
That was Vince's idea.
Did you hear the news that Square Wallet has been pulled from the App Store? Which is
why? Square, of course, we know is Jack Dorsey's company that created that little dongle you plug into your iPad. You see it everywhere now, and you swipe the card on the iPad. Square Wallet was a way to pay with Square, right?
Exactly. So down at Acre Coffee, which is right down the street here in Petaluma, they are a participating merchant. And what you do is, if you've got it's an iOS device, so iPad, iPhone, and you are...
It uses something called geofencing. Right.
So if I'm close enough and I say to the app, yeah, check me in automatically, then the app knows when I'm close enough. In fact, sometimes when I drive by Acre, the app says, we're ready. And I'm just going home.
You only have to be a little close.
Right. But the idea is you walk in and you pay for something with a credit card that you've already connected, so it's in the system, and you never have to pull out your wallet. And this is actually really, not only do I use Square Wallet every single morning because I go to my local coffee shop where they use it, but I don't have to bring any money with me or a credit card because it's just,
Well, you already have registered your credit card.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you're not getting anything for free.
Right.
But I just walk up and they say, hey, Sarah.
One of the so the way it works is when you, and you know this, but for the folks at home, when you go in there, you've geofenced, so the application automatically says hi. They have an iPad at the cash register,
right,
and your picture pops up.
Right.
So they look up and they go, oh, there you are, Sarah. So they know your name. And I suppose they could save things like your regular order and so forth. You make your order. There's a button on your screen that says how big your tip should be. I love that. It makes it easy to tip. And the payment it's almost magical. They just say, here's your coffee, and you're gone. Hi, Sarah. Your coffee's here. Thanks for the tip. And you're gone. But what happened? They pulled it?
Yeah, so the story is, and it's a little unclear how it's going to continue if a merchant is already using Square, because the company says they'll continue to support it for everybody who has downloaded it, but if you haven't yet, it'll no longer be available in the App Store, so they're basically just cutting off new users.
What happened?
Well, they're going to introduce a new, this week, it's a new app.
Square Order.
That's right. So it's all about ordering something in advance and then going in and picking it up. So it's not so different.
Does it work the same?
It's not so different.
If you go to, can you just still walk into Acre and say pay for?
No, you have to think about it ahead of time.
So this are they saying the business flopped?
Kind of, yeah. The company basically said, listen, this was a great product and we just didn't. The thing is that...
But we loved it.
Some of us did. Not enough merchants were interested in using it.
Well, and the other thing, because it was geofencing, only a certain number within an area could use it. You couldn't use it next door to somebody who's already using it because it's confused about where you actually are. So that was a real limitation. In a city like San Francisco, like only 1 in 5 people in a block could use it. That's not great. Maybe that was part of the problem.
Well,
this eliminates geofencing.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I'm thinking that might have been part of the
I never
problem.
actually heard the complaints that you're talking about, and we're looking at it's locating me in Petaluma right now, so we've got Starbucks and Stitchcraft.
It's the same.
A variety of stuff.
I don't know. There's
Acre.
Acre. It's the same places.
Yeah.
So, but what do I have to do? I have to order before I get there.
Yeah. So it's going to be
I think this is an acknowledgement that geofencing didn't work.
Yeah, it's like an ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, you can still.
It's the geofencing
This is the old
problem.
app, of course. You know, I already had it downloaded, so it's still going to work. But I did notice, because I was very bullish on Square Wallet. I wanted it to be just offered everywhere. I wanted it to be offered by Whole Foods. I was so excited about it. And there were certain. There was a convenience store and a bar, both of which I frequent very regularly, that both took Square Wallet and then all of a sudden didn't one day.
Yeah.
And the bar manager's response was, something about it makes people tip less, so I just don't want to use it.
Well, I don't feel that that's true. I think it made you tip more because it was so easy. You just tap a button.
Maybe he's just used to, if you don't have an option to tip like $1 or $2.
I'll just give you $20.
Something like that. And then the convenience store people, and maybe they don't know what they're talking about, but they said there was too much fraud. People were pretending to be other people. We just didn't want to use it anymore.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think maybe they were just not looking at people's. I don't know. I don't know what the story was, but
Your
it sounds
picture's
like
on it. It's their fault if there's fraud.
Yeah, but it just
because I see Sarah's picture. I'm not going to give Joe your coffee. Oh, I'm Sarah. No, you're not. I see your picture.
Yeah. There were a couple times though at the coffee shop that I go to often, where I'd be like, because you get a receipt, you know, or it's a little push notification, and I'd be like, you just paid $4 for a latte at Cyclass, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I haven't even gone yet.
Uh-oh. Maybe there is fraud.
That's a little weird.
Did you ever check up on that and what happened?
Yes, I always got refunded, but that happened more than once.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I don't know what was going on there. I shouldn't have been geo-fenced, but it happened.
Sounds like there were a couple of problems with this.
In any case, it's a new era for Square. And the popular thinking is, ooh, Square's gotta, they're valued at such a high.
I think this has to do with both fraud and geofencing. So I noticed Whole Foods. I can make an order at Whole Foods, but I can't pick it up for 15 minutes. I can't just walk in the door.
Right.
So what would the order look like? So this is like their deli. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to get a menu. I could say I want a haystack, add some fresh mozzarella, and then here I'm going to view my order. Haystack, hot, total, place that order. Fortunately, it doesn't have a credit card. And then I would have a haystack waiting for me for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So it's not a bad app.
It's
just kind of a whole different experience. Instead of just walking in and kind of being in the system, you've got to think about what you're doing. And then you're also competing with the courier apps because
the other
you got to
was,
go pick up something.
And you can see this in my photo. Every time I went to Acre, I'd have to take a laptop and put it over my head.
Well, that's weird because they wouldn't know who you were.
It was me.
Yeah.
So that was always a problem.
Right. Sounds more like that's user error, really.
Use a photo that looks like you?
Use a photo that looks like you.
What a novel thought.
I actually did have a couple people, take another look at me just because my photo was, my hair was different and I don't know. I thought it was a cute photo, but maybe it wasn't as descriptive as it should have been because the reality of me is not as cute. So, but yeah, I always appreciated it. It's like people looking at your signature with credit cards.
You were using your picture from Match.com. You should probably have used
I don't use Match.com.
that other one.
I don't use Match.com.
I'm just teasing you.
Not that there's anything.
That's why I used Match.com, because I didn't want anybody to search for Sarah Lane 732 at Match.com.
Hey, so we're talking about apps. Uber getting the Google Maps treatment. How odd is that, considering that we have lots of different transportation options? Uber,
Do you think they made a deal?
I think they must have. Why would Google just give Uber all that? What we're talking about is if you are in Google Maps,
Now, you have to have the Uber app installed on your device. So it's not going to pull out somebody who's not already Uber aware.
Exactly. This assumes that you at least are interested in using Uber or knowing that it's an option.
My guess would be that this is the first of a lot of different services that Maps can link to. It will scan and see what apps you have installed and say, oh, she's got Uber installed, so if she decides she wants to go somewhere, to make her choice. How do you get, there it is.
So what I did was...
So you don't specify car, or you do?
You specify transportation.
Of any kind?
Well, public transportation.
Okay, so you have to say public transit.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because
so
otherwise they're like, oh, it's your car. Or you're biking, or you're walking, or
but you
no,
think maybe
I want to figure out how somebody else gets me there. Now, I'm going from Petaluma to San Francisco, and that's a little cray-cray, but I have these public transportation options.
Right.
A lot of them are like
just get an Uber.
almost 2 hours, almost 2 hours, almost 2 hours. Right. Or if you got an Uber, it's basically someone driving you from point A to point B. It's under an hour. So you can see where, especially if you're in an urban area and you're not going as far, you might be like, well, I'm just, in a hurry. So I'll just go ahead and do that.
If you're going to a bar, you want directions to a bar.
Right. Now it's opening it up in Uber. So Uber isn't baked into Google Maps, but it's like, why didn't Google give Lyft this treatment?
Well, that's maybe,
or a taxi company.
I'm thinking that that's the first, and you maybe like Zipcar, right? If you took car and then it would say, or would you like to get a Zipcar? I'm betting it's an ad deal.
I would think so.
And so this would be the first, but I don't think it necessarily will ever be the only one as time goes by. You might see Lyft, you might see a yellow cab, or you might see a Zipcar, or Hertz.
Or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I do use Uber. Sometimes I get angry with Uber drivers, but
why?
Well, because
are you using Uber or Uber X?
Uber X.
That's the less expensive Uber, the non-black car service.
Correct.
What color are those cars?
There are all sorts of colors. They're often hybrids.
It's still a taxi service, though. This is not like Lyft, where it's just some person with some free time.
No, that's what it is.
It is.
Uber using taxis is different than Uber X, which is different than the black car. It's kind of confusing, but if you use the app a lot in a city that supports it, it makes sense. The problem that I have with Uber X drivers, I had an issue the other day where he didn't know what he was doing, and he didn't know where he was going, and he told me I have a low score because I was being bossy.
You have a low score?
That's what he told me. Now I think
lady, that's why you have a low score?
That's exactly what happened, and I just was like, it's probably not true, but...
But you don't know what your score is?
Well, it's not, it's not public.
Drivers have scores, but so do passengers?
Yeah, because if you're like a jerk, right? I don't know.
They may not want to pick you up.
Smoking in the back seat, or I don't know what, yeah, like, then over time, it's like you're getting, karma points. So an Uber driver could be like, that person wants to be picked up, but she sounds like a nightmare, so I don't want to get her.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, and then this is a reinforcing circle, because only the jerky driver is going to pick up the jerky.
The thing was, I wasn't a jerk about it. He just was going a really ridiculous way.
Right.
Hey, man.
Right.
Time is money. Take me the right way.
Well, wow. I think in this Uber thing, maybe there's some issues.
Oh, there's some issues.
I didn't know they scored you.
Oh, yeah. Goes both ways. Goes both ways.
Yeah. I'm going to take a yellow cab from now on.
3333333.
Yep. 777-7777.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, yeah, it depends on the company.
Oh, okay.
Yellow cab in San Francisco is 77s.
You're right. They are 7s.
But I always take DeSoto. That's my favorite cab company.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't used a cab company.
No, you use Uber because you're wealthy.
That's not true.
That's the perception, by the way.
That's why I use Uber X. It's cheaper than a cab.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
But you're also having pretty interesting quality control issues. You know what it is? It's the growing pains of scalability. Yeah. That sounds very much like something someone in Silicon Valley would say.
I want Reverend Jim to pick me up.
Well, I don't know who that is.
Oh, yes, you do.
Is it from the show Taxi?
Yes, it is.
That's a little before my time.
What?
Yeah. I was a little too young to this was like an adult show.
Yeah.
I know what it is, but little kids didn't like Taxi.
Yeah.
Jeff Conway, didn't he die? He was on Celebrity Rehab several times. Just saying, You're
getting as bad as me.
I don't think he did.
I've rubbed off on you.
He did
and
die,
not in a good
right?
way.
No,
I don't
not
know.
in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Celebrity Rehab. I mean, you watched that show, right? It's on VH1 with Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew.
So how about this rumor that TSMC, which is a manufacturing company, is making fingerprint sensors for the upcoming iPhone 6, iPad Air 2, and iPad Mini 3. iPhone 6, there's nothing surprising about that, but we don't have fingerprint sensors on our iPads.
I'm over it.
You are?
Do you use yours?
All the time.
I'm over it.
Really?
Yeah.
You always, you use your
No, I use it, but it's
passcode?
not a selling point for me.
Here's the problem.
It's not a selling point for me.
So
For instance, on my Android device, I don't have that. Although apparently Samsung Galaxy S5 does. I haven't used it. But I just have a pattern. I do my pattern, and it opens up. And only I know my pattern. It works. It seems like the fingerprint reader is an unnecessary complexity. Doesn't solve a problem that exists. You like it better than, say, a pattern?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have an option to do a pattern.
Well, that's right, because you're on an iPhone.
But I like it better than the passcode.
Than a 4-digit number?
Yeah, it's just that much easier. The problem that I have, though, is because everything else about, even though the iPad is bigger than the iPhone, everything else about iOS, for the most part, is exactly the same.
Right.
What I do is I hover my thumb over my home key on the iPad and nothing happens.
You want it to do it.
When it's locked,
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
what's
a
wrong
shock.
with this? Oh wait, this is my iPad.
Oh crud.
So I want
have
them
to enter 4 digits.
So this is, I like this. Hey, unlock.
Hey, I like your screen, your start screen.
Yeah?
Is that a picture you took?
Where? This? Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
So you think people, I don't know, I'm just thinking it adds complexity. It sometimes doesn't work, which is a pain in the butt. I don't think it's more secure than a pattern or a 4-digit code. So I just think it's a gimmick. That's the word I was looking for.
It's a gimmick. Even though you've got a unique fingerprint that only you can use. No, somebody might learn your pattern, but besides knocking you unconscious, and even then,
is this a problem that really is happening? Are people trying to take your phone, open it up, and do things to you?
I'm not sure that anyone's thinking of it as a problem. It's just more of a, hey, cool, fingerprint scanning is coming to the iPad experience.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it anyway.
Yeah, no, I can see if you use an iPhone 5S, it would be confusing to launch your iPad and not have the ability to do that.
Yes, it's just one. The iPhone is always like a cycle ahead of the iPad for the new stuff.
Right.
And so then I've always got this 6 months where I'm like, wrong device. Okay, how do I do this? Which bugs me. Tim Cook, please work harder. Apple is lifting online sales. Well, they're trying.
There's John messing with my phone, by the way.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say somebody takes your
Well,
phone.
you know what I do, though, is I unlock it and give it to him because it makes him happy. He's like a 4-year-old. And sometimes just to keep him occupied during Twit, I'll give Dvorak my phone and say, play with this for a little while.
Does he not have a phone? Does it keep him occupied? Because
he thinks it's funny because he'll switch it to Arabic or something.
Oh, that's hysterical.
He thinks that's a hoot.
He's like a grandpa. That's grandpa. That's not even dad humor. That's grandpa humor.
Yeah, it is.
That's fine. Grandpas are cool.
So just to keep him occupied during the trip, I'll give him my phone.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, you give him a little
Watch
toy.
his little videos or
Sure.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Apple wants to boost its online sales. It has now cut its refund times in half. This is kind of a weird way to do that. Yep, yeah, I know.
You're going to get your money back when you're not happy.
So here's
faster.
Yeah, this is coming out of Reuters, but
what?
But what the story is that let's say you buy something, at Apple.com, and you need to return it for whatever reason. A refund would be like 10 days.
Right.
And now it's going to be in under a week, which is basically cutting the time in half. Which the reasoning is, it's not that Apple doesn't want you to go to an Apple store. It's that it would like the online experience to be more seamless, like an Amazon, for example. So it's more about competing with other online shopping experiences rather than itself IRL.
I think it's hysterical, though, that they think, hey, good news, when you don't like your Apple product, you'll get your money back faster. Now how do you feel? It's a bizarre selling point. Refunds faster when you're unhappy.
Because we assume you won't like this.
Right. So
and you're going to want to get your stuff
Have you ever gotten a refund for, bought a product and had buyer's remorse or it didn't suit? and return it for
in
a
my
refund?
life, of course.
From Apple.
I don't think so.
You know what you're getting from Apple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I do. Well, anyway.
Well, anyway, what do you think about the big Beats story? Have we heard, has that broken out?
You know, we've gotten all the way through the show and we haven't even talked about it. Should we? Should we talk about Beats by Dre?
Here's my take on this.
Okay.
So this was a big rumor. It was broken by the Financial Times late last week that Apple was going to buy Beats, which is really two things. It's the headphone business.
Yeah.
Pretty good business, $1 billion a year business.
People make fun of the headphones, but they have sold quite well.
They sell well.
Yeah.
And then the second part of the story was that perhaps it was the streaming service that Beats launched. We talked about it not so long ago.
Yep.
And it's not done particularly well, estimated about 200,000 subscribers. AT&T did a big push, and this was my experience with it, where they said $16, everybody in your family can have Beats. So I went to my kids. I said, hey, kids, well, we're going to save money. And Henry goes, nah, I really like my Spotify. Abby goes, no, I'm going to stick with Pandora. And that was it, the end of story. And the truth is, I think the uptake on the Beats streaming service has not been big. So I'm wondering, what the heck does Apple want? Does it want to get in the high-priced, all-about-flash, not-so-great headphone market? Does it want to somehow? It already has iTunes Radio. Why $3.2 billion? So here's my take on it. This isn't happening. Apple maybe is meeting with these guys to talk about something. Maybe they want to put, you know, they already have Beats headphones in the Apple Store. Maybe they want to bundle them with a phone or something. But I don't think this is happening. They are meeting with them probably, but this isn't happening. But I think Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, who are the two principals at Beats,
right,
and clearly brilliant marketers, because frankly that's all Beats is marketing, right? Had thought, hey, we can really gin this one up. So Dre released, and then immediately pulled down a video of him saying, "I'm a billionaire," and Iovine says, "Yeah, we're going to be executives at Apple." Can you see Jimmy Iovine in his backwards beret, and Dr. Dre with his blunts going into the Apple executive meetings? We're here, man. I don't see it.
Well,
I think it's a bogus rumor.
I think, I don't, do you really think that anybody believes that they would, you know, be on like the board of directors or something? Now, I'm not saying that they're not crafty business people.
They're very good, obviously, right?
It's just, you know, I don't know if that's, it's quite the image for Apple, but you know what? Maybe Apple just needs to be cool. I don't know. There's so much about the story that obviously we don't understand yet.
I think supposedly it'll be announced the next day or two.
Yeah.
So either I'm going to look like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
And Apple will look like a complete idiot because this is just a dumb thing to do, or this is a bogus rumor. I think it's a bogus rumor. That's my.
I want Dr. Dre to be at WWDC in some form.
It's Dre.
Please do that, because I really like him.
I have no knock on Dre as a performer or as a producer. He discovered Eminem and Snoop Dogg, and I mean, he's a brilliant guy. I'm not saying that.
Let's not forget, you know, the late '80s with NWA.
His original group.
That got me through some tough times.
Yes.
I had all the cassettes.
Yeah, that was a great rap group. So I'm not knocking him.
CD-ROMs.
Jimmy Iovine is one of you know, the great record guys with the, I think it was a Geffen Interscope. Not to knock them, I just don't see Apple needing them.
Yeah.
Or, and frankly, is this what Apple, is this the future? This is the past. I don't see Apple doing it, but if they do, I have to say, why Apple? Why?
I feel like the streaming services would be a lot more interesting to.
You like Rdio.
Love it.
That's the problem. You've decided already. Everybody's decided. I'm going to do Spotify. I'm going to do Rdio.
Right.
I'm going to do Google Music.
Yeah,
They've all decided.
I don't have enough allegiance to Apple just to use whatever streaming service it comes up with.
Right.
Why I didn't buy Rdio 3 years ago is beyond me.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Well, when the Gin and Juice iPad comes out, that's when I'm saying.
See, that's actually from Snoop's solo record.
Okay,
so
all right.
It's not so much of a Dre thing. I just want to point that out.
He produced it, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm
No?
not sure.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I do like the Brian Williams version of Gin and Juice.
Oh, isn't that fun? love that guy. I love him.
Fallon does that. And
That's funny.
he intercuts Brian Williams, the anchor of the NBC Nightly News, and he somehow finds every word in a rap song like Gin and Juice,
right,
and turns it into.
Well, and then he'll harmonize with like guests, and
it's amazing.
It's hysterical. I tweeted it out like a month ago.
Yeah, it's funny.
Richard has a little question for you, Leo. He says, I remember a while back that you guys addressed a rumor that the default search in iOS would be Yahoo. It didn't make a lot of sense. Yahoo's powered by Bing, but when I checked if it was possible on my iPad, the choices for default search in Safari were Google, Bing, and Yahoo. Richard says, how long has that feature been there? Was it a recent addition?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's been there for a while.
Yeah. And nobody wants Yahoo. Nobody wants Bing. And I think it was a non-starter. I think we know Apple wants to get Google off of iOS.
Yeah.
And they took off Maps and so on. But they're not stupid. And they know that what people want is Google search.
That's right.
They're not going to take Google search out of Safari. They might give you the choice. And I think that choice has been there for as far as I know, for a long time.
Yeah, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like Yahoo has been an option for a while.
You know, it's funny.
I can't imagine it being default search.
People know that Mozilla makes a lot of money from Google search in the Firefox browser. Millions a year. I don't know if people know this, but Google pays Apple, not the vice versa. Google pays Apple, I think the last I heard it was $71 million a year for the right to be the search on Safari.
Really?
Yeah. So that's another reason not to do it. I mean, I know.
It's worth it for Google, though, because they get so much back.
Worth it. Oh, yeah. It's a good deal for everybody.
It's a good deal.
Google likes being on iOS. There's no question about it. They may have Android, but iOS is a big part of their business.
Well, what do I do when the iPhone 6 comes out? It's got a cool fingerprint sensor, because I like those. And then my stupid iPhone 5S, which is relatively new, is all of a sudden not that cool anymore.
You come to Uncle Leo and say, can I buy a 6? And I say yes, and you're done.
But then what do I do with this?
Oh, Gazelle. Oh, I didn't mention that part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. If that's what we do with all of our stuff. Well, no, we don't. I actually give it away. But if you have a drawer full, we've Gazelled quite a bit of stuff from here. Stuff that I can't give away mostly. If you've got a drawer full of old gadgets and you're ready to get the new one, if you got the old HTC One, you want to get the new HTC One. If you got the old iPhone, you want to get the new iPhone. If you got the old iPad and you want to get an Air, I think that's a good choice. You can sell it on Gazelle. It's easy, it's fast. Let's see what that last generation iPad, not the Air, but yeah, there you go. Let's see what that's worth. I got a 64 gig, 4th generation. It's on AT&T. Yeah, let's say it's AT&T. I'm not sure if it's on AT&T, Sprint, or Verizon. 64 gigs. Let's see my Gazelle. Whoa, 215 bucks. I'm a happy boy. Now here's the deal. That quote is good for 30 days. Yes, they'll buy broken. So $85 for a broken iPad? John, I think we ought to go down in the basement and dredge up some of those broken iPads. Now, here's the deal. That is good for 30 days, so you don't have to pull the trigger right away. You can wait. You can get the new device. You can transfer the data over. You can even get cold feet. You haven't made a commitment. They have made a commitment to you. Within the next 30 days, we will promise to pay you that much for your device. So once you've got all the devices together and you decide, yes, it's time to cash in, you press the cash in button, and then Gazelle will send you a postage-paid box. You never pay the shipping on anything worth more than $1. And when they get it, they will wipe the data if you forgot. I always recommend wiping the data first, but if you can't or you forgot, they'll do it for you. Don't worry, you can trust them. And man, they turn it around fast. You get a PayPal credit almost instantly, a check in the mail, or this is a great tip for anybody who buys a lot of stuff on Amazon. Get that Amazon gift card because they'll bump that value up for that 5%. $100 million paid out to customers, 1.5 million trade-ins, and everybody who uses Gazelle says this is awesome. Awesome. You try it today. Free shipping, fast processing, a great price for your old gadget. Why let it gather dust in the drawer when it could be cold, hard cash in your hand? Gazelle.com.
I move pretty often, like once a year at this point. And you know what's nice? Getting rid of all of that stuff so I don't have to keep moving it around.
I'm a big fan now. I'm with you. I'm a big fan now of not accumulating.
Yeah.
Just like clearing it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Because once it's gone, you don't miss it.
It's not, that's what stops people. They go, well, what if I
might
need it? I might want it. And you don't.
You won't.
GRO, get rid of, and be ruthless. If you haven't used it in the last few months, go to Gazelle and just be ruthless. Because I can tell you one thing, it's not getting more valuable. It's not.
Exactly. Now's the time.
Unless
Purge.
It's that mint in box Jabba the Hutt. That thing's getting more valuable.
Right. But that's probably not what you're selling.
No, I don't think they buy that stuff, actually.
Got an email from Tony from across the pond, who says, you and some of your other viewers might have had to deal with that dreaded device almost full warning and general space issues. If so, app cache data is a big part of that. I've been trying to figure out a way to solve this, restarting the device, deleting or reinstalling apps, that kind of thing, when I came across an app called CM Security. So I cleared almost 2 gigabytes worth of cache data on the first use. After a scan, I noticed that it kept working in the background and the apps being checked were faded. I had cleaning underneath. Oh, that's what it looks like. Afterwards, space was well and truly liberated.
This is in the App Store?
Yeah, and so I downloaded it.
I find this very hard to believe.
I downloaded it because I thought the same thing. I was like, what? This is an iPhone app.
But it works on an iPad.
Yeah, it works fine on an iPad. So, all right. I haven't done anything with it yet because I figured, well, let's see what's going on here.
So it says that there's 176 megabytes that you could get rid of, cache data that you could get rid of right now. So, and that's after you press the scan button. That's
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, what's this? System settings. Okay. Well,
so
let's just see what's
it's gonna
happening.
Scan through. So you see, it's looking at cameras, you know, compass, calculator,
right.
iTunes. The big one is going to be, of course, message, because that's where. And you, oh, look, whoa. Now see that, don't do the RAM thing. That's dumb.
Also,
that's an ad, so how do you get rid of that?
You just go back, I guess.
Okay, they hide that. Now, you have 642 megabytes.
So I saved myself a
while. Look at that, 439 megabytes released. I think there's a lot of snake oil in this. I don't think that the mobile speed has been increased to 124%.
Wouldn't that be nice? Defeat user? 99% defeat user? What the hell does that mean?
I think this is all
gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook.
You can junk, open, one-tap boost, done.
I'm actually, frankly, surprised that Apple put this in the store.
It is, you know, Wade County in our chat room says it looks like Clean Master on Android, and you're right, it's the same company.
I don't recommend these in general. If you want to delete this stuff, just go to the General tab in the settings, tap Usage. You're going to get the same information as far as I can tell. I'm seeing all the same information on my thing, and then you can delete it. I think this is just like silliness.
I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, that's the real problem with a lot of this stuff. Now, the real issue is not caches. Deleting the caches is not valuable. The real issue is other. You know that other setting when you look at usage?
I'm actually having a problem with other on my MacBook right now.
It can really go through the roof. And what we believe that is mostly is data from messages, from SMS, text messages if you're on an iPhone,
right?
From message stuff to you. It saves everything, and there doesn't seem to be a good way to clear out the cache for messages.
No junk files to delete. Well, okay.
Yeah. Now look, now you're looking at usage. Oh no, that's mine. I was gonna say, you still see, so you can, so let's say, you know, I see something that's got a lot of data wasted. I can clear it out right from the usage section here. Here's my Facebook app. Documents and data, 25 megabytes. Now I don't want to delete the app.
No, that's all you have. That's all you're allowed to do.
That's the only choice you have.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe, but see, but you I don't know. Let's see. So there's no way to delete if there is cached data from usage. You could just delete the app. Although frankly, I don't need the Oprah magazine. Let's delete that.
Well, I mean, this is just it's a good reminder to
well, you sort it by size. So you start at the beginning. You see, I have one. Now this wouldn't delete music. This would, I mean, the app. It would delete the music that I've stored on here. I don't think that there's any way that an app, third-party app, can go into the storage for other apps and delete stuff.
Right.
So I don't understand it.
And yeah, and Apple doesn't want it to be to have access to cache from a variety of things.
Right.
Either.
That would be a security issue. So for A, I don't understand why Apple approved this. B, I don't understand what it's doing. C, I can't recommend it. Is it free?
Yes.
Well, at least it's free.
Yeah, it's weird though. It's like
not costing you anything to do nothing.
The problem is that first of all, I can't imagine why it would make your mobile anything work better on mobile, because that has nothing to do with the app itself. But it also, I'm not experiencing crazy slowdowns because I don't know, my iPad is working out fine. So this is the sort of thing, it's hard for me even to know if I have gotten a memory boost because I don't feel a lag in general.
So this is the first I've seen of this. Let me do a little research and see if I can figure out what it's doing, because that is just I don't understand it. It's just bizarre. And,
Bizarre.
And I can't imagine that Apple would allow it to really reach into the data storage of other apps and delete them. That doesn't seem like the kind of thing Apple would do. So I'm just trying to see if there's anywhere I can delete caches on here. And I don't know. This is the first I've seen of it. I'll have to do some research. That's all I can say. All I know about is usage. Oh, wait a minute. Now, actually, wait a minute. I take it back. I forgot. No, that's in iCloud. Never mind. That's iCloud. I was going to say manage storage, but that's the iCloud storage. I can't manage the storage on the device, can I? Yeah, this is iCloud. I don't know.
Got an email from Chava. We really struck a chord a couple weeks ago when we talked about podcast apps being able to sync.
Yeah.
Chava was one of quite a few folks who wrote in over the last week and said, I am confused. I use Apple's podcast app, and the podcasts I listen to and watch, which are many of them, have never, ever, ever synced to each other. For example, if I listen to The Tech Guy on my iPad, it remains unplayed on my iPhone. I'm running the same version of iOS on both. It's the newest one. I thought that this was normal. Now I feel like I'm missing out. So I do not know what's going on, but I can tell you, and I'm going to show you this because hopefully I'll still get the prompt. If I go into the podcast app on my iPad, right, it'll say, would you like to automatically download new episodes for your podcast subscription? Sure, yeah, fine. Would you like to use your Apple ID to sync your podcast and my stations between devices?
Ah.
Yes, I would like to do that. Now, at this point, it knows these are the podcasts that I've already subscribed to on my phone. You saw that nothing was here before because I wanted to start clean. So it works out okay, Chava. So I'm not sure why you're having a problem. I know you're running the latest software. I have to assume your apps are up to date. They're probably updating in the background. I don't know. I don't know if that's like a buggy thing that people are having using the native podcast app. I hope not.
I think that thing has been so buggy from day one.
Yeah.
I'm not really paying much attention to it.
Exactly.
What do you use for your podcasts?
I still use Downcast.
Yeah, I love Downcast.
I do too. And I use Apple's podcast app pretty often just because I like to know, natively how it's working out. But I decided I liked Downcast a long time ago, so I'm still using it. Instacast is another.
Instacast, also popular.
It is.
And one of the things we want to do, and I think a lot of people are starting to do this, is create our own. We have Twit apps and allow you to subscribe within the Twit apps. We don't have any official ones. Everything we do is unofficial, done by third parties. But that's going to be something I think we'll put into a future app. Is just say, I like iPad Today. I want every episode, and then it'll appear on the Twit app. Doesn't that seem like the best way to do that?
I certainly, yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a feature we could add. But Pocket Cast is good. Downcast, Instacast. I had never used the Apple Podcast app just because it was so buggy when it first came out. I never gave it a second chance. I should try. Beyond Pod, that's a very good one as well.
It is interesting for some of my less tech-savvy friends. I like to grill them on how they use iOS for those of them that have iOS devices. Because podcast is finally becoming something where people say, yeah, I love podcasts. Where I listen to podcasts when I'm in my car. And I go,
love to hear that.
What do you use? And they're always like, well, they're podcasts, so I have to use iTunes.
iTunes, and you have to connect your
right, so it's like there's still
a
lot to learn as far as just the general public understanding this stuff. I do feel like it's happening, but the idea that like a podcatcher or a variety of different apps that just look different and act differently can also give you your podcast, that is still a foreign concept to so many people. So,
I think a lot of people listen to us, it's audio only, but Stitcher is a great choice. And that you can just listen. It's almost like, we'll just get the latest one. Or, I mean, I feel like there are plenty of good ways that are probably a little easier than the original idea of podcasting, which is you go to iTunes, you find a show, you press subscribe, it downloads it to your computer, you connect your device to the computer, you synchronize, and then you hit the road. That's too hard.
Too much.
Only the most devoted fans do that, and we thank you.
When we love you.
Yes, we do.
But we know that that's
we're not going
to grow. A lot to ask of just the general.
We can never grow if you have to do all that.
Right.
We're going to get all of you who are sophisticated and devoted because it's so much work. But if we want to grow, we've got to make it a lot easier, I really think.
Fiberlicious says, I watch Twit mostly on YouTube. That's fine too.
Yeah.
That's why we offer it.
Yeah, well, that counts.
Yeah.
It all counts,
It
my
all
friends.
counts. You're all great. Really quick before we take a break, we got an email from Chris because the cooking app suggestions just keep rolling in.
You know what?
Like the hits.
You and I love to cook, and at first I thought, well, it's just us, but I'm more and more seeing people who really love to cook.
Love it.
And use their iPads. In fact, I've got a great choice for you coming up.
I know you do.
I'm very excited.
This app that was suggested by Chris. Chris writes, I love the cooking apps you discussed, and you had more suggestions from viewers, but you haven't mentioned the best one for actually keeping your recipes in a central location.
Well, we mentioned one, my recipe app. What else is there?
He says Pepper Plate.
Pepper Plate?
Which is free and always adding websites that allow importing and formatting of the recipe via the URL.
Oh, now there's another one
I've been using it on mine way back since that first iPod Touch. It syncs between my Mac and all my devices, and I can share with others.
All right.
I've got Pepper Plate locked and loaded here. If I go ahead and search for
Oh, it looks nice on an iPad.
couscous.
All right.
Because I love that word.
Don't
My mom
you
made
just
some really good couscous.
love
last
couscous.
night.
Love
Me
it.
too.
It's so simple yet so delicious.
No results.
Because you're not spelling it right, but that's okay.
I'm not?
I don't know.
I think I am. Aren't I?
C-O-U-S-C-O-U-S. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a space between coos and coos.
I don't
Try
think
putting a
so.
space.
I don't think couscous is
Couscous.
2 words. What's happening?
It doesn't have any couscous
Well,
recipes.
hold on. Let me just make sure I'm not like doing something wrong.
Try soup
here.
soup.
No results found. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm doing something
something's wrong.
Something's
Oh, you're
wrong.
searching by ingredient. Search by title. Silly girl.
Oh, I did.
Oh.
I did both of those things. Chris, this app is a
Well, because you
joke.
haven't put any recipes in there.
Oh, I'm searching for something that does not exist.
You have to put stuff in first.
Right.
This is not, okay, so Big Oven, Epicurious, some of the apps we talked about last time, those have recipes in them. This is a recipe keeping app.
Yes.
So you enter in your recipes for Gus Gus.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Got
And
it.
the nice thing is, as he mentioned, many sites are formatted in such a way that this app can pull them in automatically. That's always a little bit of a problem.
Add to shopping list,
Yeah.
add to a
That looks
planner.
good.
You've got a
That
calendar.
looks good.
This is actually quite nice. You're right, Chris. This is a good.
See, I still prefer something like Big Oven because it has recipes and does this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is unless I'm crazy, there's no way to pull.
Well, you have to find a
You've got to go to
site or something.
pepperplate.com and then import recipes from your favorite
Okay,
sites.
but hey, it's free.
So yeah,
Pepper Plate.
Pepper Plate, totally free.
Do you have a lot
pepperplate.com.
of your own personal recipes? Do you like to save recipes and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Yes.
Although
800 ways to make hummus.
I have made a lot of hummus.
I know.
I'm getting good at it too. You know what the secret is?
I actually love hummus.
You know what the secret is?
What?
Jalapenos.
Give it a little.
Uh-huh. Sounds weird, but if you
Yeah.
blend them just so.
And do you use a blender to make your hummus?
Food processor.
Food processor.
Blender would sort of work.
I have a Vitamix. I'm looking for something to do with it.
There you go. Make some hummus.
make
It
some
would
hummus.
it would probably make it really nice and creamy.
It would be.
Because hummus can be a little
delicious.
lumpy, and that's no good.
No.
You want something creamy.
The Vitamix is like an industrial strength blender. It's
Yeah, it's
2 horsepower.
It's a lot.
You could put anything in there, it would make it creamy. You could put your iPad in there and make it creamy. Ew.
So it will blend if you've
It
got a Vitamix.
blends.
Anyway.
Our show today brought to you by Personal Capital. You know about Personal Capital? The founder of Personal Capital actually was on Triangulation a couple of years ago and told me about it. And I said, oh, I'll try it. And I've been using it ever since, and I love it. So here's the problem I would submit. If you're trying to plan your financial future, you know, a lot of people and do budget and so forth, but really it's about investments. It's about saving money and then taking that money you've saved, investing it wisely so that you have a financial future. You're building your wealth. Doing that is tricky because, of course, you got a lot of accounts on all different web pages, all different passwords, so it's hard to see at one time your mortgages, your loans, your interests, your credit cards, your bank account, all that stuff is, you know, and your investments spread out all over. The other thing that people probably don't pay a lot of attention to, and I have recently paid a lot of attention, I just read Flash Boys, and it is the costs of trading, the costs of advice. This can eat all your interest, and you're not making any money. Here's the solution. Personal Capital. Personalcapital.com. This is a free way to keep track of all your stuff in a not beautiful dashboard with live graphs and everything, and to figure out if you've got the right investment strategy, if you're paying too much for advice, if you're paying too much for transactions. It lets you plan for retirement, plan for your future, and it's absolutely free. Totally secure, totally safe. Take my word for it. Personalcapital.com. If you go to personalcapital.com/iPad today, you can sign up for free and immediately start getting a sense of where your money's going, what it's doing. They have an iPhone app, they have an iPad app, real-time intuitive graphs, and all the information you need. Start building your wealth. Doesn't it? You know, I think it just sounds good to say, I'm working on building my wealth. You should do that. And by the time you're my age, you should be able to relax a little, enjoy. Don't do as I did. I'm going to be working till I'm 900. Personalcapital.com/iPad today. I wish I'd had this tool when I was a youngster. Let's put on the app caps because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for our awards.
Keeping with the black and white theme.
I love it. As am I.
That's correct. I don't think we've ever looked better. The two of us have finally figured out app caps. You know?
High
Years
contrast
of humiliating ourselves, and all we had to do was just think a little bit about fashion.
I think I look like Popeye Doyle from The French Connection.
Maybe we should start doing this show in black and white.
It's very attractive.
Sure, and getting, you know, it can be sort of like a, you know, film noir version of iPad today.
iPad noir.
Oh, wow.
That's good. I like how that looks.
Sounds like a criminal activity. I don't really know what I'm saying.
So this is the portion of the show where we pick each of us an app that we really think is an app to pay attention to. That's interesting. It's worth looking at. This one, you worried me, though. You said you don't like this app.
I don't like it at all, but I think other people will, and that's why I feel that it is appropriate. It's called dEXTRIS. It's actually spelled little d, big E, X-T-R-I-S. And
by Chaotic Box.
That's just your first little indicator that this is not the game for me, because I don't want anything called Chaotic Box to be part of my life. It sounds gross.
Oh, I don't know. Is it fun?
No, it's horrible. So here's
Sounds
why.
like I'm gonna love it.
Here's why you will love it. You know what it is?
What?
It's Flappy Bird-esque because it's just too dang hard.
All right.
So here we go.
I'm interested.
All right. What you do is you've got these little boxes, and you basically just want to keep from hitting the spikes. Got it?
Yeah.
That's literally all you do.
Ow.
That's how hard it is.
Okay, you're right. I don't like it either.
You know?
Ow. Ow. Oh,
Darn it.
This is hard.
It's really hard.
It is a little Flappy Bird-like.
It is. It's the same idea, right?
Yeah.
Gosh. I just hate it. It's so mean.
Were you up all last night hating this game?
See, I can't. My hand-eye coordination is not good enough. That's all you do. That's it.
The kids will love it.
Kids will love it. I've already seen
dEXTRIS.
Chatter about dEXTRIS online, because everybody wants that game, and they want to be able to gloat when they get a score that's like slightly higher than what everybody else can get.
Right.
I basically can get like a score of 4, and that's the end of that.
It sounds like Flappy Bird.
It's crappy. It is free though, so if you're up for the challenge, I think that you would like it.
I know it looks like fun. I'm definitely downloading it. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of cool
In-app
looking.
purchases, or what? Is it? It's freemium or just free?
It's free.
Wow.
Free to me. I mean, maybe I never got to the point where they were like, hey, you're good enough that maybe we can upsell you on something.
Fibrelicious in our chat room has a great idea. We should do a show called This Week in Annoyingly Addictive Games.
I could do that.
Yeah,
there
are quite a few of them.
Basically annoyingly addictive.
So
some more than others.
I almost hate bringing this app up, but it just came out, and I'm such a fan. I really want to talk about this. Now, you know we've talked about Mark Bittman's How to Cook Everything. We're big fans of that.
Love it.
It's a great cookbook app.
Yep.
The people who did that have released a new app, the classic Joy of Cooking.
That's like the most classic cookbook ever, isn't it?
If somebody you know gets married, you give them Joy of Cooking.
Yeah.
If somebody's setting up house, you give them Joy of Cooking. A child graduates from college and has got their first home, you give them Joy of Cooking. It is... You must have it. This book has been revised. It was first written by Irma Rombauer in 1931.
Wow.
And it's been revised, I think, 6 times ever since. This is the latest edition, done by it's still the Rombauer family, which is really neat. They don't say, and I don't think it has every recipe in the Joy of Cooking, but the Joy of Cooking, it's not a cookbook that might have the most interesting or fancy stuff. It's got the basics. It's like if you want to know how to make chicken soup, it's going to have the chicken soup recipe. You may look at other cookbooks like the ones we've mentioned, Cook's Illustrated, for, some tips and so forth. But these will be the definitive recipes. So for the other day, for instance, I was going to make gazpacho. So, I know if I go to Joy of Cooking, I'm going to get the classic gazpacho recipe. Actually, this is one that they say is very popular, but this is the original classic gazpacho recipe. Now, here's why I like this. Besides the fact that everybody should have the Joy of Cooking, and this is only $5 compared to the book itself, which I, of course, also own several editions of. Nice images. It seems like it's a standard recipe book. But here's a couple of features that I particularly like. First of all, it's got speech. So one of the things I find all the time with cooking that's a real pain in the butt. Oh, this is sleep. Okay, a couple of things. One.
Remember you said.
Yeah, it goes to sleep in the middle of the recipe. So I've turned on sleep block.
Right.
But two, which I really love, it will read you your recipe step by step as you go along. I'm like, see how I can turn that on. I had it turned on at home. I have an iPad, a separate iPad at home. You can create a shopping list from every recipe. It has a timer, so as you're going through the recipe, you can. Here we go. This is really nicely done. So now I'm going to turn on speech. So this is the recipe, how to make the gazpacho.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn on speech. It says microphone access required because not only is it speech, but it accepts commands.
Ooh.
So I could say next step, previous step, repeat, first, last, step one,
awesome.
step two. So I'm going to say speech on, and speech on, and I'm going to turn it all the way up. Step one.
Remove to a large bowl. Finely chop in the processor. 1 small onion, coarsely chopped.
So you do it.
1/3 cup packed parsley leaves.
So now I'm not touching the iPad. The iPad's not going to sleep. I can do the step. I can repeat the step. I can go back a step, or I can say next.
Stir well. Refrigerate for at least 2 hours. Serve in chilled bowls.
And this is, jump to the last step, but this is a really nice idea. It allows me to go through
Finely chop. Remove to a large bowl.
What's cool is that I find sometimes with videos
Remove to the bowl. Add to the processor.
And yeah, it's easy enough to pause a video, but that's what happens. It's like you're not going fast enough, so you have to keep going back.
Right.
And this way, you just finish whatever the task is, and then you just say, okay, give me the next task, which is like that. I don't know. I think people get really intimidated by cooking because there seems like there's so much to do, but if you do little by little, it's not.
It walks you through it.
Usually, it's not very hard.
You can add it. You can create meal menus. So you can add it to your menu. You can add it to your calendar. You can make a shopping list out of the items in it. So to add items to the shopping list, tap the shopping cart icons in the ingredients tab of a recipe. So we're going to go to ingredients, and I'm going to say, yeah, let's add all of these to my shopping list now, right? And so now these are all in my shopping list. Boom. And when I go to the store, I'm going to have a nice shopping list. It'll make it very easy for me to get the ingredients that I need. I can sort by aisle. I can sort alphabetically. I check them off as I go. I think these are all features that any good cookbook app should have.
Yeah.
And it's the joy of cooking. So it is the cookbook of all cookbooks that everybody should have. Not particularly gorgeous. I think Mark Bittman gives you videos and stuff. But there are articles on technique. There's a kitchen reference. A lot of the things that became, kind of critical as I was starting to cook, you have to learn about different ingredients and why you might use fresh herbs versus dry herbs, things like that. This is all in here. Keeping and storing food, desserts, dinners, everything you'd want. And I have to say, many's the time you're going to just say, look, I'm going to use the Joy of Cooking recipe on this. And if you are, you're going to be very happy that it's so easy to go through this step by step. The iPad won't go to sleep on you. I think an iPad is a great cookbook if it works the way you expect it to work, and this one does. Joy of Cooking. It's $5. The recipes. It seems like there are literally thousands of recipes in here. I don't know if all the recipes from the Joy of Cooking are in here, but quite a bit is. Including the stories, the all the information about the history of Joy of Cooking and so forth, which is really one of the classics. Look at this. Here's the 1931 edition of Joy of Cooking. 1936, 1943, 51, 63. I have the 75, 97.
It's kind of funny just to see how the logo changes over time.
And of course, I have this one in my kitchen. I think I bought the 2006 edition as well. I think that's the new one that just came out.
75th year.
Yeah. And then this iPad is, in effect, the newest edition. So,
well,
really
I love
nicely
it,
done.
Joy of Cooking. And they're the same people who do How to Cook Everything.
Yeah,
the
they do the
makers anyway.
Yeah, so these guys really, they've learned a lot from the apps that they've done in the past. This is a good, really nicely done. And I think $4.99 is a good price, too. Very nice. Highly recommended, Joy of Cooking, if you like to cook. And this would be a good gift for anybody who's starting a household.
There you go. $5 wedding gift. Everybody wins.
Give them the iPad and put Joy of Cooking on it.
But at the very least, give them the cookie.
And personal capital.
And personal capital too. All right, with that, we have come to the end of our show. It's been a good one, cowboys and cowgirls. Thanks for joining us. Leo and I will be back next Monday and every Monday at 12 noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Something UTC.
You want me to tell you the UTC?
Yes.
It would be 2000.
2000 UTC, which is the best one of them all. See you next week on iPad Today.